What if I told you there's something you can take every single day that costs less than 50 cents, takes under 10 seconds to prepare, and quietly shuts down your cravings, melts stubborn belly fat, and protects your heart, all at the same time? Now let me ask you something honestly. If something this simple actually worked, why hasn't anyone made it a daily habit yet? That's the question I want you to sit with for just a moment, because by the time this video is done, you're going to have a very clear answer. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this is, why it works on a deep biological level, and most importantly, how to use it the right way so you don't waste your time the way most people do. And please stay with me until the end, because there is one small but critical mistake people make with this, and that single mistake completely cancels the results. I don't want that to happen to you. Hi, my name is Dr. Hana Sato. I have been practicing medicine for over 2 decades, and for much of that time my focus has been on metabolic health, specifically what drives fat storage, blood sugar regulation, and the long-term breakdown of the body's internal systems. I've worked with patients across different age groups, different backgrounds, different body types. And one thing I keep seeing over and over again is that most people are not failing because they're lazy or undisciplined. They're failing because they've been pointed in the wrong direction entirely. What I'm about to share with you today is one of the most overlooked, most underestimated tools in modern health. It is not a new drug. It is not a miracle powder sold online for $100 a bag. It is something that has been sitting on pharmacy shelves for years, quiet, affordable, and almost completely ignored. But first, let's talk about what's actually happening in the bodies of millions of people right now. Right now, millions of people are struggling with stubborn weight that won't move no matter what they try. Constant cravings that show up at night, after meals, or when stress hits. Blood sugar that keeps climbing. And a silent, growing risk to their heart. One they may not even feel until something goes wrong. Most of these people believe the only real solution is expensive medication or extreme dieting. Some have already tried both and are still not seeing results. And after repeated failure, many of them start to believe that something is permanently wrong with them, that their body is broken. I want to stop right there and say this clearly: your body is not broken. But here is what is happening. There is something missing. Something your body was biologically designed to receive every single day. And in the modern diet, most people are barely getting a fraction of it. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that you can eat a full meal, and 2 hours later, you're already craving something again? Or that no matter how many times you try to cut back on sugar, it only lasts a few days before the pull gets too strong? Most people blame themselves for that. They call it weakness, lack of willpower, poor self-control. But here is what's actually happening inside the body when those cravings hit. When you eat a meal that is low in one specific nutrient, a nutrient I'm going to name in just a moment, your digestion moves too fast. Blood sugar rises quickly, then crashes just as fast. That crash is what your brain reads as an emergency signal. It tells your body, we need fuel and we need it now. That urgent, almost desperate craving you feel? That is not a character flaw. That is a biochemical response to a blood sugar crash. And your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The real question is, how do we stop the crash from happening in the first place? When researchers started studying traditional populations, communities in parts of Asia, Africa, and South America who were eating natural, mostly unprocessed diets, they found something that stopped modern scientists in their tracks. These populations had almost no obesity, almost no type 2 diabetes. Heart disease rates were a fraction of what we see in developed countries today. And researchers initially assumed it was genetics, or physical activity, or some other lifestyle factor. But when they looked more carefully at what these groups were actually eating, one pattern kept emerging. Their fiber intake was dramatically higher than what people eat in modern processed food diets. We are talking about numbers 2 to 3 times higher than the average person today. And when researchers took people from these same communities and shifted them to a Western-style diet, processed, low in fiber, the health outcomes changed within months. Blood sugar went up. Weight increased. Cholesterol shifted in the wrong direction. Now ask yourself this: what changed? It wasn't their genetics. It wasn't their age. The only meaningful variable was the food, specifically the fiber. Your body is literally built to function with high fiber intake. Every day you go without enough of it, your digestive system is working under strain it wasn't designed to handle. The gut moves too fast. Blood sugar spikes and crashes. Hunger hormones misfire. And the body, trying its best to manage all of this, starts storing fat as a protective response to the instability. Those crashes drive cravings. And those cravings are not coming from your mind. They are coming from your biology. Honestly, as a doctor, I find it genuinely frustrating that so many people carry this weight of self-blame, when the real problem is something as specific and solvable as this. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right? Watching what you eat, trying to stay consistent, but the results just weren't showing up? If that sounds familiar, I want you to keep listening very carefully. So let me now tell you exactly what this is. There is one compound that keeps showing up again and again in the clinical research on weight loss, blood sugar control, heart health, and craving reduction. Researchers have studied it for decades. It is derived from the husk of a seed. It is natural, it is widely available, and it costs almost nothing. It is called psyllium husk. Simple, natural, affordable, and when used correctly, surprisingly powerful. Now I know what some of you are thinking. I've heard of fiber supplements before. I tried one once and it didn't do anything. Or maybe, if it's that cheap, it probably doesn't work. I understand that reaction completely. I used to approach inexpensive natural interventions with the same skepticism before I actually started looking at the research. The data changed my thinking, and I believe it will change yours too. Let me explain exactly what happens inside your body when you take psyllium husk. When psyllium enters your stomach, it absorbs water and forms a thick gel-like substance. Picture it like a slow, viscous layer that coats the lining of your digestive tract. That gel does several things simultaneously, and all of them work in your favor. First, it physically slows down how fast food moves through your digestive system. This is important because slower digestion means glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. No sarp spike. No sarp gras. Your blood sugar remains more stable for a longer period of time. And when blood sugar is stable, cravings drop dramatically. The biology of hunger changes. Second, that gel binds to bile acids in your intestine. Bile acids are made partly from cholesterol. When they are bound and carried out of the body through waste, your liver has to pull more cholesterol from your blood to make new bile. Over time, this lowers LDL cholesterol, the type most associated with heart disease risk. This is not a theory. This is documented, replicated science. Third, psyllium feeds the beneficial bacteria that live in your gut. Those bacteria produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids, which reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and help regulate the hormones that control appetite. And this brings me to the part that I think is most important. There is a hormone called GLP-1. The full name is glucagon-like peptide 1. You may have heard it recently in the news in connection with medications like Ozempic and Wegovy, drugs that have made headlines for producing significant weight loss. Here is what those drugs do at the core. They mimic or amplify GLP-1 activity in the body. GLP-1 tells your brain you're full. It slows gastric emptying, meaning food stays in your stomach longer. It reduces appetite. It stabilizes blood sugar. When pharmaceutical companies found a way to activate this pathway, they created drugs that cost hundreds of dollars a month and come with significant side effects for many users. Now here is what I need you to understand. Psyllium husk naturally stimulates your body's own GLP-1 production, not by mimicking a hormone from outside, but by triggering the cells in your intestinal lining to produce more of the hormone your body already makes. The mechanism is different from the drug, but the pathway it activates overlaps significantly. Let that land for a moment. Your body has this system already built in. The hunger control pathway, the blood sugar stabilization pathway, the fat regulation pathway, these exist inside you right now. They are not broken. They are just not receiving the input they need to function properly. So the real question is, if your body already has this mechanism, why not support it naturally first? Now I want to address something directly because this is where a lot of people go wrong and give up too early. Many people have tried a fiber supplement at some point, felt bloated or gassy, and concluded that fiber doesn't work for them, or that their stomach can't handle it. Here is the truth. The bloating is not a sign that fiber is bad for you. It is a sign that your gut bacteria are responding to a sudden increase in fermentable material they haven't been receiving in adequate amounts. It is an adjustment reaction, not a rejection reaction. The key mistake is going too fast. When someone takes a large dose immediately, the bacteria in the gut produce gas faster than the body can handle the adjustment. That's what causes discomfort. The correct approach is to start low and go slow. Give your gut microbiome time to adapt. And the discomfort that most people interpret as their body saying stop is actually the beginning of the gut rebalancing itself. If you stop there, you miss the entire benefit. This misunderstanding has caused countless people to walk away from something that could have genuinely helped them. Now let me share what the clinical data actually shows, because I want you to understand this is not anecdotal. This is not wellness blog advice. This is peer-reviewed research. Multiple clinical trials have shown that consistent psyllium use leads to meaningful reductions in body weight, particularly around the waist. It improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells become better at responding to insulin and using glucose efficiently. It reduces LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol in people with elevated levels. It lowers fasting blood sugar in individuals with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. And one of the most striking findings across many of these studies is that these changes occurred without participants making major changes to their diet or exercise routines. The psyllium alone, used consistently and correctly, produced measurable results. This does not mean it is a replacement for healthy habits, but it does mean that for people who are struggling, and who may not yet be in a position to overhaul their entire lifestyle, this is a real evidence-based starting point. You don't have to completely reinvent your life overnight to start moving in the right direction. Sometimes you just need to give your body one key thing it has been missing. So let me talk about how to actually use this correctly. This This is where most people make their second mistake after quitting too early. They use the wrong amount. They use it at the wrong time. Or they don't drink enough water when they take it. The right approach looks like this. Start with a small amount, roughly 1 teaspoon, mixed into a full glass of water. Not a half glass. A full glass at minimum. This is non-negotiable, and I'll explain why in a moment. Do this once per day for the first week. Just once. After the first week, if your body is tolerating it well, no significant discomfort, no unusual symptoms, you can increase to twice a day. Many people eventually move to 3 times per day, which is where the research tends to show the strongest results. But that progression should happen gradually, over 2 to 4 weeks minimum. Timing matters. The most effective windows are before meals. Roughly 30 minutes before eating. This is when the gel formation is most useful, because it slows the absorption of the meal that follows. It reduces the post-meal blood sugar spike, extends the feeling of fullness, and reduces how much you're likely to eat. Now the water. This is the critical safety point I mentioned at the beginning. Psyllium husk absorbs water aggressively. If you take it without enough liquid, it can swell in the esophagus or the throat and create a blockage. This is rare, but it has happened. Always take it with a full glass of water, and drink additional water throughout the day when you are using it consistently. This is not optional. It is a basic safety requirement. People who skip the water, take too much too soon, or don't stay hydrated will not only miss the benefits, they may create discomfort that makes them stop entirely. Do it right from the beginning and the experience is smooth, easy, and consistent. One more benefit I want to mention because it is something almost every person I've spoken to struggles with regardless of their specific health goals. Consistency. Most health interventions fail not because they don't work, but because people can't maintain them. The effort is too high. The schedule is too complicated. The results take too long and the discomfort comes too soon. Psyllium husk, used correctly, actually supports consistency in a very practical way. Because it reduces cravings, you naturally eat less, not through restriction but through genuine reduced hunger. Because blood sugar is more stable, the energy crashes that lead to afternoon snacking or late-night eating become less frequent. And for people who are practicing intermittent fasting, taking psyllium husk in water during a fasting window can blunt hunger enough to make the fast far easier to maintain, without breaking it. This is not a shortcut. This is a tool that reduces the friction between where you are and where you want to be. And sometimes, that is exactly what is needed to actually stay consistent long enough to see results. So let me bring this full circle. If you've been struggling with cravings, with stubborn belly fat, with rising blood sugar, with cholesterol that keeps climbing, please hear this. Your body is not betraying you. It is not broken. It is responding rationally to an environment it was never designed for. The processed food, the refined sugar, the chronic lack of fiber, these are inputs your biology simply was not built to handle without consequence. And the gap between where your body is now and where it is designed to function, it is often smaller than people think. Start small. 1 teaspoon. 1 full glass of water. 1 time per day. Give your body 2 weeks to adjust. Pay attention to how your hunger changes. Notice what happens to your energy levels after meals. Watch how your cravings shift. The most powerful solutions are not always the most expensive or the most complicated. Sometimes they are the ones that have been sitting quietly on the shelf, overlooked, underestimated, and waiting to be used correctly. Your body was designed to thrive. Give it what it needs and it will show you what it's capable of. Now, if you want to take this even further, if you want to build on what you've just learned and see results even faster, you need to watch my next video. It's called, Add This to Your Coffee and Burn Belly Fat 3x Faster. I'll show you exactly what to add to your morning routine, and just as importantly what to avoid, because there are common mistakes people make that unknowingly slow down everything we just talked about.